Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Lions Grid. Of course, today is a Tuesday, which means it's time for our Kings in the North segment. So we'll be taking a look at the standings in the NFC North heading into Week 9. Best place to start with that, we'll go ahead and toss it over here to the results from this previous week. You can see three of the four teams getting victories. You have the Packers winning over the Kansas City Chiefs 31-24. The Lions getting the win at home against the Giants 31-26. The Vikings winning at home against Washington 19-9. And then the sole loser was the Bears 17-16 at home against the Chargers. What does that mean for the larger NFC North picture? Well, staying pretty consistent. The only two teams swapping is you have the Lions moving up to third place and the Bears dropping down to fourth place. Packers still on top. Vikings still in second place. Kind of interesting, as it pointed out in the meme in the thumbnail yesterday, it took the Lions 7 weeks to hit the 500 winning percentage. Kind of a mind blow there, but, ties will do that. The Bears dropping below a 500% win percentage with that loss last week to the Chargers, and both the Packers and the Vikings chugging along, both on 4-game winning streaks, both looking very tough. The Packers, sitting there at 7-1-0, pretty much at this point. The NFC North is theirs to lose. They got out to a great start. They beat the Vikings once. They beat the Lions once. They beat the Bears once. So they've already gone through the round robin one time and gotten the wins there. They're 7-1 overall. I mean, they just need a couple more wins to go ahead and secure this NFC North and a playoff berth. So really, it looks like the Packers are going to be the Kings in the North this season. It'd be very surprising to see them not end up as the NFC North champions. But, there's still games to be played. Crazier things have happened, but certainly the Packers in the driver's seat right now with an opportunity here to they're already putting the pressure on the other teams, but certainly a chance to lock things up here pretty early if they can get a couple more wins here in the next couple of weeks. Speaking of the next week, let's go ahead and take a look here at who the teams will be playing this upcoming week. You can see the Packers will be traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. The Lions traveling to Oakland to play the Raiders. Minnesota traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, and the Bears traveling to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. So all four teams on the road. 3 of the 4 teams taking on AFC West opponents. Going to be a very NFC North, AFC West matchup heavy weekend. All of those games also being played on, just double checking here, I believe they're all going to be played on Sunday. Yes. Yep, all games being played on Sunday. 2 of them during the 1 o'clock hour. That would be the Bears and the Vikings, and then the Packers and the Lions playing in that late afternoon slot after 4 o'clock. So all the teams in action this Sunday. Should be a good week of NFC North football. I am expecting, not to spoil the picks, you can certainly tune in. I think 3 of the teams here have certainly a very good chance of getting another win next week and extending their winning streaks. That team that isn't currently on a winning streak, I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Eagles. That offense has struggled quite a bit, but certainly you can tune in later this week when we do the pick'ems to see my official picks and my opinions on these games. But I'm thinking 3 of the teams got a pretty good chance of coming out with a W. One of the teams might need some help because offensively they have just looked awful. But you can't guess who that is. Taking a look at the bigger picture in the NFL, taking a look at the other division leaders here through Week 8. You can see on the AFC side of things, in the AFC North, you have the Baltimore Ravens in first place at 5-2. In the AFC South, you have the Indianapolis Colts at 5-2. AFC East, current leaders are the Patriots at 8-0. For the AFC West, you have the Kansas City Chiefs at 5-3, currently in first place. As mentioned, on the NFC side of things, the current Kings in the North are the Packers at 7-1. Down in the NFC South, you have the Saints also at 7-1. In the East, you got the Cowboys at 4-3. And out West, you have the undefeated San Francisco 49ers currently sitting on top of that division, which outside of the outside of the NFC North, I think they're kind of giving the NFC North a run for their money for being the toughest division that NFC West is. The Cardinals did lose last week. Previously, everybody there had at least in the NFC West had at least a 500 winning percentage. Of course, the 49ers undefeated. The Seahawks now sitting at 6-2. The Rams at 5-3. The Cardinals dropped to 3-4-1. So they're below a 500 winning percentage there. But overall, I think those are between the NFC West and the NFC North. There are three teams that certainly have a chance. It's going to be very interesting to see how the wild card plays out because right now, looking at those two divisions, you have the 49ers and the Packers who are in the driver's seat. But then you have the Seahawks, the Rams, the Vikings, and the Lions who are all going to be there competing for a wild card. Toss in whoever doesn't get the NFC East between the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's going to make for a very interesting end of the season as these teams try to get in because certainly right now it looks like the Packers and the 49ers are the clear-cut division leaders for them. For their divisions. Also, the Saints down in the South at 7-1 seem to be in the driver's seat there. Carolina is another team at 4-3 that could enter that conversation for a wild card spot. So things are going to get very interesting. The NFC very competitive this season, and really it's going to be important for the Lions and everybody to get wins here because it's getting heated up. There's a lot of teams there. There's only 2 spots available outside of the 4 division spots. It's going to be a very interesting end to the season. Yeah, that will do it for today's episode of Kings of the North. A pretty quick episode, nothing too crazy happening. If we toss back up here the current standings in the NFC North, things stayed pretty much the same. Again, just the Lions and the Bears swapping spots there, with the Lions picking up the win against the Giants and the Bears continuing their now 3-game losing streak. I mean, it was I think not really surprised either. I think most of the games here, both me and Joe predicted correctly on. I know Joe did go with the Chargers and I went with the Bears. They did pull out that 1-point victory, so I got that one wrong. But overall, not a whole lot of craziness happening last week. So the standings are pretty much what you would have expected. But at this point, like I said, unless the Packers have some sort of collapse where they drop their next they're 7-1, so they've already played 8 games. Unless they lose all 8 of their next games, I don't see there being a chance of either the Vikings or the Lions being able to catch them. The Vikings, maybe if they went out, have a chance to catch them because that would take the series to 1-1 between the two of them. It's certainly going to be interesting because, again, there are several teams that are going to be vying for that wild card spot. Right now I'm counting you got 6 teams that are all going to be there trying to get those 2 spots. So going to be very interesting because right now I'm not going to call it because I think it's certainly things could happen, but right now Packers definitely my favorite to win the NFC North because they've positioned themselves beautifully. They've started off the season tremendously on a 4-game winning streak. It's tough to catch them when they're off to that hot start, but maybe the Vikings or even potentially the Lions could do it. But certainly if I was placing money on it, the Packers would be the team I'd be going for. But as you can see on this snazzy-dazzy webcam border we have here for Extra Life, I've been mentioning it the last couple of videos, but in the description of the video, there is a link to my Extra Life fundraising page. Extra Life is a organization that raises money that benefits the Children's Miracle Network. I'm specifically playing as part of the Workforce software team, and we are raising money to support Beaumont's Children's Hospital. So, the game day itself, I'm going to be playing games on November 1st through the 2nd, but you can donate at any time, and happy to report that thanks to the generosity of my coworkers, my friends, my family, we've been able to hit my secondary goal of $500. Originally was just looking to raise $300. Bumped up the goal once we got to that pretty quickly, and now we're at that new $500 goal. So thanks to everyone who has supported and made your donations. It means a lot. But if you are still interested, again, there is a link in the description of the video where you can go and check out more about Extra Life, about how the money gets used, and then if you feel like making a donation, you can do so. We'll be back again later this week doing some of the other standard videos. We'll be doing our power rankings, be taking a look at the fantasy football picks, as well as doing our pick'em. So if you did enjoy today's show, please do help the channel grow. Go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel. It's probably the best way you can support us at this moment. We have a goal of reaching 100 subscribers so we can unlock a custom URL for the YouTube channel. We're making great progress towards there, but still need some help. So if you haven't done so, please do consider subscribing. And you can also ring that bell right there next to the subscription button to be alerted when we're going live with all of our videos. That way, if you want to be kept up to date with the latest fantasy football stardom situms, or if you want to take a look at who we'll be picking in this weekend's games, you'll get an alert in either your browser or your mobile device letting you know when we're going live with the next video, the next episode of the Lions Grid. Until that next episode, I'm Kevin Marheine. This has been the Lions Grid. We'll catch you during the next video. Bye-bye.